One cup of English.
Real English for real life.
Do you ever get home after a long week, sit down on the sofa, and then just stay there? Not watching anything, not doing anything, just existing.
Yes, and somehow that feels like the most productive thing you've done all week.
Exactly. Your body finally stops, but then your brain sends you a little reminder, hey, don't forget you have 17 things to do tomorrow.
The brain really has no sense of timing.
None at all. Hi, I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jason, and today we're talking about something that sounds simple but honestly isn't: relaxing after a long week.
Because sometimes I'm tired just doesn't say enough. And if that feels familiar, this episode is for you.
Leave a like if you are currently horizontal.
Subscribe if you want real, everyday English for real, everyday moments.
So let's start with the honest question. Why is it sometimes so hard to actually relax, even when you finally have the time?
I think for a lot of people, the body gets home before the mind does. You sit down, you close the laptop, but something inside is still going, still processing the day, still replaying conversations, still writing invisible to-do lists.
Yes, your body is on the sofa, but your brain is still in a meeting from 3 hours ago.
Exactly, and I think that's why so many people say, I don't know how to relax. They're not lazy, they're just wound up.
Wound up, yes, that's such a good phrase for it. Like something that was pulled too tight all week and hasn't been released yet.
Right, and the tricky thing is, you can't just decide to stop feeling that way. You need to give yourself time to come down slowly.
Which sounds obvious, but when you're in it, it doesn't feel obvious at all. Okay, so what does a long week actually feel like in your body? Because I think we sometimes skip over that.
For me, it feels like heaviness. Not sleepy heavy, more like everything has weight. My thoughts feel heavy, my shoulders feel heavy. Even making a simple decision, like what to eat, suddenly feels like a lot.
And that's when you know it's more than just tired. That's when you're drained. Like there's genuinely not much left in you.
Yes, drained is exactly the right word. Tired means you need sleep. Drained means something took from you. There's more to it emotionally.
And the strange thing is, even when you finally sit down and do nothing, the feeling doesn't always go away immediately.
Right. Sometimes you need 20 quiet minutes just to realize how tense you actually were. I once sat down on a Friday evening and my shoulders were practically up near my ears. I hadn't even noticed.
Your body carries things you never gave it permission to carry.
It really does.
So what do you actually do when you feel like that? Drained, wound up, heavy? What helps you come back to yourself?
Honestly, small rituals. Nothing big. Changing into comfortable clothes the second I get home, making something warm to drink, putting my phone in a different room for a while.
The phone in a different room is so underrated. Out of sight really does help the brain let go a little.
It really does, because as long as the phone is there, part of you is still available, still waiting for something, and that part never fully unwinds.
Unwinds. Yes, that's the process, isn't it? You were wound up all week. Now you need to unwind. Slowly release all that tension.
Exactly. And unwinding looks different for everyone. For some people, it's a walk. For others, it's cooking. For others, it's doing absolutely nothing and feeling zero guilt about it.
Zero guilt is key, because a lot of people rest but then feel bad about resting, which kind of cancels the whole thing.
Yes, rest isn't a reward for finishing everything, because everything never actually finishes. Rest is just how you recharge.
Recharge, like a battery, which sounds a bit mechanical, but honestly, it's accurate. You used a lot of energy this week. Now you need to put some back.
And it doesn't have to be a perfect weekend. even one quiet evening where you really unwind, that can be enough to feel like yourself again.
For me, it's tea, an old playlist, and sitting by the window doing nothing. After about 15 minutes, I start to feel human again.
Mine is a shower and then soft clothes immediately. There's something about that transition, work clothes off, comfortable clothes on, that tells my brain, okay, we're done now.
Okay, time for the word tour. Today, we have 4 words, and all of them are for that exact feeling of a long week finally ending.
These aren't complicated words, but they're words that help you say how you really feel, more clearly and more naturally than just, I'm tired.
Let's start with the first one. Drained.
Drained. Say it with us. Drained. It means completely empty of energy, not just physically, emotionally too.
So if tired means you need a nap, drained means something took from you. There's more weight to it.
You can say, I feel completely drained, or that conversation really drained me, or simply, I'm not angry, I'm just drained.
That last one is really useful because sometimes people misread drained as a mood, but it's not a mood, it's a state.
Exactly. Okay, the next word, and this one is a phrase actually, wound up.
Wound up. W-O-U-N-D, up. It means full of tension, unable to relax, like something that was pulled too tight.
You can say, I can't sleep, I'm too wound up. Or, she was so wound up after the meeting she couldn't eat.
Wound up is great because it describes that specific moment when you want to relax, but your body won't let you yet.
And this one connects perfectly to our next word, unwind.
Unwind. It means to slowly release tension and relax after stress or pressure. You were wound up and now you need to unwind.
You can say, I usually unwind by listening to music. Or, give me an hour to unwind. Or, a slow walk always helps me unwind.
Unwind is softer than relax. Relax sounds like a decision. Unwind sounds like a process, like it takes a little time, and that's completely okay.
And our last word is one you've probably heard before, but it fits so perfectly here. Recharge.
Recharge. To restore your energy, like charging a battery after using it up. You can say, I need this weekend to fully recharge. Or, spending time alone really recharges me.
And you can also say you feel recharged, like, I feel recharged after a good night's sleep.
Recharge is useful because it's not just about sleep. It's about whatever fills you back up. For some people, it's people. For others, it's silence.
For Jason, it's toast.
Toast is genuinely healing. I stand by that completely.
Okay, we want to hear from you. After a long week, what's the one thing that helps you unwind? Music? A walk? Food? Sleep? Time alone?
Write it in the comments. Even one word is enough. Just tell us what recharges you.
And if your answer is all of them, we completely understand.
One last thing before we go.
If this week felt heavy, that's okay.
You're allowed to be drained sometimes.
You're allowed to need time to unwind.
You're allowed to do something small and quiet just to recharge.
Rest isn't laziness. It's how you come back to yourself.
So tonight, put the phone down, make something warm, and give yourself permission to be fully, completely unavailable for a while.
You've earned it. Take care of yourselves.
We'll see you next time.